I got you 2 persons standing in the same I saw them, I thought, I know somebody who's going to like that. Thank you. Thank you.
when I joined Peace Corps in 1971 with my family. That was the song we took with us. It was our song.
Thank you, Francis. CVUUS gathers on unceded land of the Western Abenaki people. We respect their spiritual relationship to the land, and we hope to learn from them how to live in balance with the earth. Good morning. My name is Becky Strum. I'm a member of this congregation and of the worship team. And today it is my great pleasure to serve as worship associate for our guest worship leader, Christal Brown. We have been fortunate to have several services led by Christal in the past. For those of you who may not know her, Christal is a professor of dance at Middlebury College. She is an entrepreneur in her own right, having founded several of her own projects. In Spirit, Project Becoming, the Liquid Strength Training Module for Dance. Christal is also a proud mother to her son Gabe. And a little known fact, after touring around the world as a performer, Christal believes that one of her greatest achievements is being able to fry chicken like her Aunt Carolyn and replicate her granddaddy's cornbread, which she says she just recently cooked. So welcome to those here in our sanctuary, to those on Zoom, and to those who may watch a recording of this service at a later date. Welcome to CVUUS, the Champlain Valley Unitarian Universalist Society. If this is your first time with us, you're invited to fill out, there are cards in the lobby. There is a blue card like this that you can fill out, and we will stay in touch through email. If you have a specific joy or a concern, a milestone or a passage, there's a yellow card and a pink card for anyone who has information, joys, or concerns that you don't want shared publicly, but that you would like to let our caring team know about. There is also hearing assistance in the back. If you're having difficulty hearing, this is a great time to put those cell phones in worship mode. You are welcome here, no matter who you are, no matter where you come from, no matter what your background. You're welcome to join us in community as we live, learn, and love together. So the flaming chalice is the symbol of Unitarian Universalism, and this morning Kate Gridley, who we'll hear from a little later in the service, is going to light our chalice. And as she does that, if you would join me in reciting the words in your order of service and on the screen. As we light this flame of hope, may our congregation become a kaleidoscope of souls and people. In the presence of this flame, in me, in you, in us, is an invitation to sit at the table. May we tend our soul fire through these challenging and trying times to open our hearts and minds of all who enter our doors. And our call to worship this morning is by Sharon Wiley. You whose hearts are broken, come in. You whom pain has touched, and sorrow and shock, you who have cried this week and read the news with sadness, you whom loss has shadowed, you who grieve, come in, come in. You with hearts open to joy, and hope come in. You whom love has touched, and friendship and wonder. You who have laughed this week and felt gratitude for life's many blessings. You to whom gifts are given in abundance. You who rejoice, come in, come in. All our hearts are broken and open. All of us rejoice here, grieve and rejoice. This is our place, this is our hour to gather and sing and cry and laugh. Come in, let us worship together. And to begin that worship, we'll hear from Dr. Francois Clemmons.
Thank you.
Is that okay?
Yeah. So many familiar faces. What else? If you'll indulge me for just 1 second. On February 27th, 2003, my dearest beloved Fred Rogers died. He was 64 years old. I said that to you because in a month and a half in April, I will turn 80. And I certainly don't think I'm wiser than Fred. So I've got to figure out what happened between 64 and 80. Also, this is Black History Month. And it touches me very deeply that we are doing something. So thank you very much. All right, I'm ready. Whoever's going to tape this, right, this is the time to get your phone out. You got your phone out? Come on. Get your phone out. Whoops. Okay, all right, let's go. On a hill far away stood an old rugged cross, the emblem of suffering and shame. And I love that old cross where the dearest and the best for a world of lost sinners they were slain. So I'll cherish the old rugged cross till my trophies at last I lay down. I will cling to the old rugged cross and exchange it someday for a crown. Oh, that old rugged cross, so despised by the world, has a wondrous attraction for me. For the dear Lamb of God left his glory above to bear it in dark Calvary. So I'll cherish the old rugged cross till my trophies at last I lay down. I will cling to that old rugged cross and exchange it someday for my crown. To the old rugged cross I will ever be true. Shame and reproach gladly bear. Then he'll call me someday to my home so far away, to his glory forever I'll share. So I'll cherish the old rugged cross till my trophies at last I lay down. I will cling to that old rugged cross and exchange it someday for my crown. Amen. Oh, goodness.
Thank you so much, Francois. Thank you. So, there are many ways to connect. In addition to Sunday services here at CVUUS, there are a number of ways in the future. On the back, I want to tell you one that is coming up this week, and it's especially appropriate because it is a singing circle that's going to be led by Dr. Francois Clemmons Thursday night at 5:30 in the fellowship hall. Everyone is invited to come and sing. And then one other note that I have, as some of you may know, our floors are going to be refinished this week. And so after today's service, if we could really use some help in picking up the chairs and moving them to the sides after today's service so that the floors can be refinished during the week. And at this time, I'm going to call back Kate Gridley, who will give us a Canvas update and also a personal testimonial.
Good morning. So, for those of you whom I don't know, my name is Kate Gridley. I've been coming to CVUUS along with my husband, John Barstow, who's in the front row, and originally also with our two sons, Charles and Angus, since 1998. We've been members about 27 years. I asked to make this Roots and Wings testimonial today because it is February 23rd, my mother's birthday. Ooh, that was a surprise. Something that's been on my radar for 68 years. Some of you knew my mother, but most of you never did. She lived 4 hours away in northwestern Connecticut, and for much of 2023 and 2024, John and I were not here because we were there. My mother was a very tiny, very powerful person known for her high energy. If she'd been a subatomic particle, and that's not a stretch, she would have been a proton, I think, because she was upbeat, fast-moving, and very positive. I'm going to add she was fiercely independent. She was a teacher, a lover of family, and I am a type Z to her type A. Think about that. She died on Valentine's Day a year ago, 9 days shy of her 94th birthday, after a significant period of health challenges. But my story today actually is not about her. It's about you. We were away from our village, which is you, while we tended my mother's needs. The doctor's visits, the emergency calls, the shopping, the cleaning, the tending, the cooking, the caring, the comforting, the tactical help when it was clear there were unpopular transitions to be made, the move to hospice, the need to find and accept help. These are all things that many of you have experienced and understand, and others of you might experience someday. It's human stuff, painful stuff, and yet it's not all bad. There are silver linings to be found. And our silver lining was CVUUS, because CVUUS, among other things, is filled with caregivers of caregivers. From texts of love and sympathy to words of wisdom and advice, from stealth drop-offs of food, including homemade soup, biscuits, cookies, wine, chocolate, and chicken marbella, from deliveries of shower stools, commodes, and bouquets of flowers. This was a long haul, and yet the support of our friends never wavered. New ministers arrived. Lots of new people came. A new choir director was hired, or a new music director was hired. CVUUS, as ever, was a hive of many activities and services. We were eager for CVUUS news while we were not able to be here or participate. So when we got back this past fall, it really felt like our coming home was complete. A home full of old friends, a home full of new potential friends, back into a community predicated on holding love at the center, which, as we found caring for my mom, is the only element that really matters. You see, the one thing that helped her transition into dying, which is something she never planned to do, the one thing that helped her transition peacefully was knowing how well and how deeply she was loved. So I just want to say thank you. Thank you for taking care of us as we took care of her. Now, the world feels pretty crazy right now. A lot of things that I believe in, that we believe in, well, there are folks trying to break them. Grab power, cancel caring networks that operate all over the world and inside our own country. Break alliances. Where will it go? What will happen? How will it end? I want to be with and I want to work with folks like you who hold kindness and love at the center and who will stand up for the values of our principles, which honor the inherent worth and dignity of every being, and who will take care of our home, the planet on which we live. This past fall, John and I joined the team tasked with looking toward the future of CVUUS in this critical moment, because we want CVUUS to be here for our grandchildren, your grandchildren, you. And if you have to go away, it will be here when you come back. We are on the third of 5 Sundays inside this campaign. It ends on Sunday, March 9th. Please mark your calendars. That's the end. And we will have special music that day. Reverend Christina will be in the pulpit, and there will be a colorful and festive potluck lunch, and there will be more information on that to come. For the moment, the campaign news is exciting. We are not done yet, but it is humming. On the annual pledge side of things, we have received 37 gifts to date. That is about 1/3 of our pledging members, and lots of visits are in the works and scheduled. Gifts are coming in across every category on the pledge table. That matters. All sizes of pledges matter. We have pledges for 53% of that goal already. On the capital side, we have received 42 gifts so far. Capital campaigns are often full of surprises. There have been 13 what we call major gifts to date. We were planning on 10. Woo-hoo, that's good. Let's break that record. We have commitments for 80% of the goal. 80%, people. We have 2 weeks to go. We are going to make these goals. Now, when your steward gets in touch with you about meeting, please say yes. I guarantee you will have a good conversation. My parting story is this. Our steward was someone who had never worked on this kind of campaign before, but she decided to get out of her comfort zone, get brave, and do this work. We were her first visit. Everybody was nervous, but guess what? It was fun. A number was suggested for us to consider as a capital campaign commitment, and to be honest, I was really nervous about what that number was going to be, but the number was reasonable. And John and I were feeling so strongly in our current political climate about the importance of CVUUS for the good of the wider community in Middlebury and Vermont and the world, that, for the first time ever, probably only, so be forewarned, we upped the suggested commitment by 50%. How does that feel? Oh, I have 3 words: grateful, joyful, and loveful.
Thank you, Kate. And I'll just add that I did have a wonderful meeting with my steward this past week. And now is the time in our service where we take up our offering, sharing the plate with an organization or nonprofit that shares our values. And for this month, that organization continues to be the important turning point center of Addison County. So please be as generous as you are able. I have one very happy milestone and passage that I'd like to share. It is from Irina and Tom Morgan. They're celebrating their 17th wedding anniversary today. It has flown by. And, and now, for all those joys and concerns, milestones and passages that we know are in our hearts but not spoken, we'll have some time of silence.
I wanted to share with you, let's see if I can get this out, a story that explains how the song we are doing fits in with the theme of inclusion. So we are singing a song called the Frim Fram Sauce. Back in, I think it was 1998, I was accompanying for a high school chorus, their auditioned chorale. It was a wonderful music director who happened to find music in the budget to pay for an accompanist during class, not just at concert time. So I was there every week, and it was right after Christmas break when things started up in January, and there was a new student in class, a girl named Sarah, who obviously had just moved in, and you could tell from her body language that she was just mad at the world because she was, you know, in this strange new school in the middle of the year. She didn't talk to anyone. She didn't want you to talk to her. She kind of sat away, but she did sing. And so about 2 weeks into the semester, the music director handed out this piece, the Frim Fram Sauce, and read the opening words, which are, I don't want French fried potatoes, red ripe tomatoes, I'm never satisfied. I want the Frim Fram sauce with the Asen Thay, with shafafa on the side. And you can imagine these teenagers, they just all had such a strong reaction from everything from, I'm not singing that, to what is that? And this girl, Sarah, just had this big smile on her face, like it really just struck her fancy. So after class, the director went over to her and asked if she wanted to sing a solo in this song, which she did. And then, you know, that just led to her becoming fast friends with everybody in the group. And it's just an example of the power of music to break down barriers and build community. So enjoy the Frim Fram Sauce.
Well, I don't know if that compares to my granddaddy's cornbread, but I'm going to slide this back up where it was. How y'all doing? Good. I'm glad to be here. I really am. I was at the Flynn last night because I've been serving on their board for a while, but that's about to come to an end because I've got to let a lot of things go. I'm just tired. Whew, baby, being on the board of the board of the board is taxing. But we were there last night celebrating a 4-year program called the Black Experience. Maybe some of you have heard of it. Have you heard of it? Yeah, have you ever been over there? Okay, great. So for the last 2 years, I've been the MC, and so this year I kind of went behind the scenes to be on the planning committee. And the keynote speaker was Ta-Nehisi Coates. You know who that is? Yeah, great. And so he said something last night, which, he says a lot of things. And he's a guy from Baltimore, which I love because partially, if you guys have ever heard me talk before, you know that the more I like you, the more you know where I'm from. It's just real. If you've only heard me say, hi, how are you, we might not know each other that much. Right? But if my country accent starts to come out, you know that we know something about each other. So last night, he's from Baltimore. He's a kid from Baltimore. If you know anything about Baltimore, aside from The Wire, it's a place where a lot of historic things have happened, but have also been covered over by what the crime and politics narrative have been, right? And so we have these brilliant people, these brilliant thinkers like Ta-Nehisi Coates, who comes out of Baltimore, whose first blood memory, and blood memory is one of those kind of esoteric phrases we use for what is the thing that you remember the strongest, the most, and will shape you for the rest of your life, right? So he said his first blood memory is really going to the Baltimore jail to visit one of the Black Panther Party members that his father had served with, right? That's his first blood memory. And he talked about why he writes the way he writes, and it's because he says that when he finds himself finally in the presence of his ancestors, he wants to be worthy of their company. And that's what stuck with me from last night. Being worthy of the company of the people who strived to get us here. Because sometimes we forget, and we're so enamored with what we're going to do tomorrow to change the world, that we forget that it's already changed quite a bit. And sometimes the change is reciprocal and cyclical, and we have to start from the inside out, right? So I thought about that last night when I was driving back home at 11:30, which, way past Middlebury midnight. I was like, how am I going to make this work? I didn't get my 10 hours of beauty sleep, all those things. I do like to sleep for 10 hours. I know, this is a big deal. It's expose today. People think Christal doesn't sleep. Oh, baby, I sleep. They're like, oh, my God, how are you getting all this done? Because I go to bed. And so we're going to get back to what we thought we were going to talk about today, which is interior design. And really, it's about the interior design of who we are. So here's how we start all the things that I do. A lot of things happened before this, and I guarantee a lot of things are going to happen after this, but I promise to be here with you now. Please be here with me now. We're going to remember that the same breath that's breathing me is breathing you. Hit it. That's going to be our signal the whole time. So as we're thinking about interior design, some of you also know that in addition to being a dance professor, I toured all over the world for 20 years dancing. And I don't know if you know what that's like, but for those of you who have never met me, here's what it's like. You put your body in front of a person who has an imagination, and you're supposed to make their imagination come out of your body. Yeah. That's really what it's like. And I think a lot of people think, oh my God, it's so fun, and you have a great time. And it's like, actually, I'm trying to read a person's mind who signs my paycheck, and they're not that articulate, and so I'm doing a lot of guessing, and in that guessing, I'm putting my body in danger, and while I'm putting my body in danger, I'm supposed to be thinking creatively, and you think it looks like I'm being so free, but I'm actually being bound by somebody else's infinite imagination that I can't even get to. Yeah, that's what the work is. So in life, what that is translated to is me being able to just move Christal out of the way and try to be a vessel for something that I can't see, but I'm trying to interpret so that you get something out of it. So welcome to Sunday morning. Okay. What are you thinking about these days, aside from what you're being told to think about? You can just yell it out. What have you been thinking about?
The death of my sister, Leslie.
The death of your sister, yes. The passing, yeah. What else?
What's going to happen to our country?
What's going to happen to our country? Uh-huh.
Grandchildren.
Grandchildren?
Grandchildren.
Yeah, grandchildren.
How to cultivate joy.
How to cultivate joy, yeah. Agency, what can you do? Uh-huh. Loss, uh-huh. Grief. Quilt design. Okay, yeah. That's how you cultivate joy right there.
The garden that's coming.
The garden is coming. Okay, yeah. Other species? Yeah. There's no wrong answers here. Like keeping turkeys safe? Oh, you have a turkey? Oh, okay. Yeah, cool. All right. What else? What else you thinking about? The best winter in decades. Yeah. Your sister. Yeah. Birds starting. Oh, because they have a repertoire. Okay, I didn't even know. Yes. Jobs for family members. Yeah. Good. How to, oh, feet? The accumulation. Okay, I was like, who's been walking on your roof? Right. Yeah. Yes. Your community, yeah. Keeping them safe? Yeah. Yeah. Balance. Yeah. Yeah. These are good. Good. So, in this way that we think, we sometimes often, just like, I just want to just lay the palette of ideas that we just heard out, right? Everything from safety to quilting. And some people would say, oh, well, shouldn't you be thinking about the real things that are happening? And real is based on the reality you cultivate. There's right, there's wrong, and there's real. I try to just dwell in the real. Because right is what I've been taught to do, and wrong is what I think someone is not going to like it if I do. Right? And the reality is I'm faced with several choices. We all are, every day, from like to eat another cookie, or like, give to CVUUS. Right? All of those things have value long term. If I eat the cookie, maybe I'm going to, regret it later on the scale. If I give to CVUUS, maybe another person's grandkid gets a cookie in the basement. All those things are connected, right? We sometimes try to level or try to put a hierarchy on our thoughts, and then we start to judge ourselves morally. Right? And that's about the interior design of how we're thinking. What keeps you up at night? Nothing. Right. Some people sleep good. Right. Nothing keeps you. Fascism. Whoa, that's a big one. Yeah. Your cats. Yeah. Grief. Yeah. Fear. Yeah. Oh, how did they get in and out at night? Yo, I don't have pets, so you have to forgive me. Oh, okay. But while you're sleeping, they go in and out. Oh, they can. Oh, they can. Okay. Free range dogs. Okay. All right. I got you. What else? Our political situation. Yeah, I almost said your political situation because honestly, kind of that's how I kind of bifurcate it of like those people, and I'm going to live on my own planet. But yes, our political system. What else? Coughing. Yeah. A lot of people have that respiratory thing happening. Yeah. What you thinking about? What's keeping you up at night? What do you do about it? Read. Okay. Wordle. Sing. Uh-huh. Oh, not out loud? You don't want to wake your... Okay, you sleep beside somebody. Meditate. Organize.
I do have your book club. I do have your book, meditation book.
Oh, that's so sweet. How's it going for you? Yeah, okay. I hear 2 or 3 things about this 30-day devotional. Some people, they read all the stories and don't answer any of the questions. Some people, they get to like question 2 and then they're like, whoa, I got to put this down. Right? And then some people are like, I have it. What else do you do? Yes?
Throw myself into my job.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know what that, I'm a recovering workaholic. I know what that's like. Yes?
I use some peanut butter, crunchy kind.
Okay. Good nighttime snack. Uh-huh. Yes? Oh, in your head. And then that puts you back to sleep? Okay, I like it. Yeah. I never thought about that. Yeah. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah. Oh, and you're right back to, okay, good. It's a good meditation, good gratitude meditation. Anyone else? Yeah. You tap? Oh, uh-huh. Yeah. Okay. Yes.
I try to think how it could work out better than I could ever have expected.
Okay. Yeah. That's good. Yeah. And then what changes about you? After you get the peanut butter, after you organize, after you're tapping, after you imagine the best case scenario instead of the worst, what happens to you? You relax. Go back to sleep. Uh-huh. Yeah. Let go. Feel hopeful. Yeah. Make a plan. Uh-huh. Yeah. Anyone else? Let go, yeah, we got 2 of those, uh-huh. You just, yeah, it's okay. Somebody's got to, yes. So the difference, or where I want us to kind of look at this is the difference between awareness and permission, right? We can be aware that something is keeping us up at night. We can be aware of what may be causing us anxiety. The awareness of what the problem actually is different than the permission to engage. Everybody see where we're going with this? So a lot of times we're made aware of something. We live in an infodemic. It is constant. You can be aware of so many things simultaneously, but you may not have the agency or the permission to do anything about it. But what happens is that awareness stays stuck somewhere in your body. Yeah, and that awareness is what keeps you up at night, whether you can do anything about it or not. Right? Being aware that there's a grief inside of you, being aware that for my brother is housing unstable, being aware of all these things and not being able to touch or do or change any of it brings the body into disalignment. Right? And so, I know something about alignment. Like all the things. How to stack the stuff on top of each other, right? And then when we have this idea, we then feel like we can't do anything about it, but I came across this poem which I thought was really beautiful, and it just says, you are allowed to reintroduce yourself to the universe as you heal. The pieces you put back together, transformed, have much to reveal. So a lot of times, we're aware of all the pieces. We don't start changing the pieces. We like to do demolition rather than renovation. Right? And if you're in the words of Rumi, most demolitions only need to be renovations. Right? If we were really aware of just that one thing in the room that's really throwing off our feng shui, we could just change that one part. We don't need to kill the whole room. You gotta throw that couch out. Oh, we've had it forever. These bookshelves, oh, they just have all the things that just aren't right. I'm a fan of stick-on wallpaper. Maybe because I saw my mother wallpaper houses as a side hustle when we were younger, and like all the stuff at people's house, right? And I'm just like, absolutely not. Then you gotta steam it to get it off the wall. I love it. It's beautiful, right? But like right now, you can stick it up, peel and stick. Oh, I don't like that anymore. Just take it on down. Right? And so this idea of also how much we invest in the renovation. Time, effort, energy, materials. how much we invest is the process of transformation. So some of us transform our lives from the outside, and people think we're doing great. Some people transform their hair, and they think, oh, this will make me feel younger. Some people transform their wardrobe, whether it's on Temu, Amazon, whatever, right? And it gives them at least a new costume. I know a little thing about costumes, right? And sometimes what we're trying to do is get to a deeper transformation on the inside, but we actually don't have the tools or the awareness of what's really making us unstable on the inside, so we just try to balance everything out there. Yeah? So the Bible often refers to the heart as like the totality of what's inside, including your ideas, your thoughts, your hopes, your fears, your disappointments, your desires. So when it talks about, the heart of a man, or right, it's really talking about all of these things at once, right? But if we were scientists, we just call that the ECS. Right, you heard of this? So it's your endocannabinoid system. Yeah, right. It's like at the root of where we find these other new terms of interoception and things like that. So really what happens is that this system is connected to your nervous system and connected to your brain, runs up and down your spine. So everything that happens to you, one of these receptors registers it somewhere in your body. Right? And so you also, just because, let's bring this to present day, right? This cannabinoid system is also intertwined with the natural version of cannabis that our brains induce, right? So when we look at like these medical ideas about why cannabis is helpful, it's because it can actually subvert or change the signaling for pain, memory, understanding. And so it gives us a kind of a false sense that we did it ourselves. But most of us have never really learned to do it ourselves. So we do it somewhere else and pretend that it's ours to own. I come to your house and I clean up your living room and I go back home and my house is a mess. Right? I talk to you about your kids because I don't want you to know what's happening with my kid. Right? I show up on Sunday and I'm really happy, but when I go back home, I'm really sad that there's no one else to talk to, or that you're responding to someone that's not really me. Right? All these things happen to us, and they just stay routed in our bodies until we find the one thing that we're really willing to start to shift. So this cannabinoid system is also connected to like your mammalian brain, like your animal brain. And I know we get so smart and so technologically advanced and we're just like, we're beyond that. And then someone hurts your feelings and you're like, oh, maybe it's real. Yeah, right? Someone hurts your feelings and you're like, oh, wow, something's wrong with me. I'm supposed to be stable enough to handle this. Or grief pops up, which is a very non-linear emotion. Does not say start here, end here. Right, pops up at the most strange times. I was cleaning out my office the other day, and some of you know my mother passed away in 2018. And I went right back to work, because that's what she would have wanted. Because she was a workaholic, and she didn't know no better. So I just did what I thought was right at the time. I would have never done that again. Now, these things called FMLA, you just got to use them. Anyway, I was cleaning out my office, and I found notes of me sitting in meetings where I would be sitting in a meeting, and I would be so distraught that I would just start writing myself a note like, this is so stupid. I can't believe I'm sitting here. This is literally on the paper. It also says things like, God, give me compassion for my colleagues because I have no idea why they think this frivolous meeting is important. Literally. Right? I found these notes the other day. I showed them to my coordinator. She was like, oh, my God, this is like from yesterday. I said, it feels like yesterday, too. Yeah, but this was 8 years ago. Right? So when we think about how we let those things out, I used to tell people when I came back from my mother's funeral, listen, it's Wednesday. Wednesday's going to be Wellness Wednesday. I don't care if you see me in this office or not. Don't talk to me. Pretend you don't see me. I'm a ghost. Like I'm here to either get something done or otherwise I might be in my basement crying, but just pretend you don't see me. Right? And so sometimes we have to also tell people or invite them into our transformative process by asking them and instructing them on how to treat us. Sometimes we don't know that either, right? Sometimes when people are hurting, we give them so much attention that it amplifies their hurt. Yeah, and sometimes they just want to be left alone, but they don't even know how to say that. Because how else are they supposed to reciprocate that they know you love them, right? Sometimes we barge into Francois' apartment, unannounced, because that's how I was raised. I'm from the South. You just knock on the door. If you don't want to answer, don't answer. But I mean, we here. I think my son we ordered him something from Amazon. My son walked in his apartment. He was asleep. He just set it up anyway and left. Right? Right? But that illustration is about community, one, but it's also about moving past someone's need to see you serve them and just serving them. Same thing for yourself. Moving past what it looks like to take care or be successful with yourself and just be like, oh, success for me today is sitting in my moo-moo, making some tea, and just talking to God. That's one of the most successful days maybe I could have, right? So when I think about this system, right, what it helps me convey to you is this idea that your faith is also built on tiny receptors, tiny thoughts, tiny ideas, tiny interactions that either tell you, based on how you were raised and the information you have, if you're a good person or not, if you're doing the right thing or not, if they like you or not, right? I don't know how many people complimented Paul on his shirt, but Paul, you know what I'm saying? You're a spiffy dresser. Yeah, you already knew that, though. Right? You know, those little interactions, right? The noticing of things, the saying of things. And it's not about compliment, it's about completing another person's thought of themselves. Right? The completion of that is, I did this because I love it, but wow, if you love it on me too, then dang, I might have done it right. This really might be me. Right? Like the thing that I thought was cool, you recognize that it looks like it's integrated or in alignment with who you believe I'm to be, and maybe now I'm actually on the road to knowing more about who I really am. Right? So healing and forgetting is also a part of this system. Now I think I don't know, we talked about balance earlier. You know, like healing and forgetting, some people might think are 50-50. I think you're probably better at one than the other. I think they're kind of intertwined. They need each other a little bit, but sometimes we can go further into the forgiveness than we do into the healing, or be more invested in our own healing than we are in actually forgiving the harm. Yeah, and I think that's okay. I mean, nobody in here is, perfect, right? So I think what we have to do is we have to choose which one we're going to invest in first, and then let the overflow go into the other category. So there's this poem by Rumi too. Anybody know this one? Yeah? Yeah? Okay, so let's just read it together. You'll hear my voice, but pretend it's your voice. This being human is a guest house. Every morning, a new arrival. A joy, a depression, a meanness, some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they are a crowd of sorrows, who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture. Still treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whatever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. Right? A lot of times when these things pop up, we're like, oh, this is not a part of my day. This is not what I'm doing now. I don't have time for this. Right? And it could be something like a sorrow, but it also could just be a person who wants your attention. Right? I have learned that every time a person is in front of me, whether it is to complain, to compliment, to camaraderie, whatever, it is a request for my love. They could be tap dancing on my last nerve. It is a request for love. Right? I recently learned from a colleague that people complain because it's a subversive way of gaining control. So think about it, right? If I'm complaining about something, it's because it's not going the way I think it should go. I know I can't really control it, but I could convince myself that if I could, I would fix it. So I just rather complain about it. I can't believe there is no salt on this fish. Like I was going to go back in the kitchen and recook it, right? I can't believe he said that. If that's what he said, imagine what he really thought. That was the filtered version. Right? So sometimes we have to say to ourselves, okay, right, this thing is asking me to love it. Not like it. Love it. To be patient with it, to be kind with it, to not judge it, to not keep a record of it, to just engage in the moment as lovingly as I can. And that requires more strength of me than it does critique of another. And then we have this guy, this guy, just back there in the recesses of, every civil rights movement. Gandhi is one of those voices that is so common that we forget whose voice it is. Right? Because it's interwoven in the words of Martin Luther King Jr. It's interwoven in every talk show that Oprah's ever hosted. It's interwoven and, it's all in there somewhere, and we just got to sometimes detangle. And then we can go back another layer into the Tao Te Ching. We can go back another layer into the Orisha of Obatala. We could go back another layer and find this same principle of mirroring, internal to external, as a guide for who we're trying to be. So whenever there really is friction between you and something, it's a reflection of something on the inside that needs a new design. Right? Even if you're like livid, right? Oh, I got some more patience I can make on here. I can mix up a little more patience in here. Oh, I can mix up a little more compassion. Oh, maybe I haven't grown lately in the area of communication. Right? So whatever's in front of you is challenging you as a mirror to do that next thing. So this just says, we but mirror the world. All the tendencies present in the outer world are to be found in the world of our body. If we could change ourselves, the tendencies in the world would also change. As a man changes his own nature, so does the attitude of the world change towards him. This is the divine mystery supreme. A wonderful thing it is, and the source of our happiness. We need not wait to see what others do. Right? And that's hard, because we're taught from very young to be like, do it like I do it. Do you see what I did? Good. Sound out the word the way I said it. Great. This is how math goes. This is how life goes. And then you listen, and then you get to practice, and then you do. And then if you do it right, people will pay you or like you or let you into their house or marry you right? It's hard to forge your own example when all you see is staying a part of the fold. Because that's where the safety is. And even if we know internally that safety is sometimes a forced illusion, we still like it. Feels good. I know where I'm going when I get in the car. I follow the GPS regardless of if I know who that voice is on the other side or not. It seems to know more than I do. Right? And so this ECS is really your GPS. But sometimes it's faltered. The software has not been updated. Right? Because it's still based on old situations, scenarios, conditions, people, opinions of you that other people told you years ago. And that ECS is still trying to get you somewhere, even if you haven't plugged in a destination. A lot of times that ECS is going to get us right back around, right, to where we started because we haven't changed the system. Yeah? And so I'm not trying to proselytize you guys. This is what I study. I've read this book, 15 times, or I don't know how many times, right? And every time I find something that I see on a deeper level. So when this scripture talks about, Romans 12 talks about, do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, then you'll be able to test and prove what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. For me, at this stage of my life, a late-stage orphan, a parent who's single, a semi-successful person in the world, I understand neurologically that everything I do is a pattern. And if I'm patterning myself after what's happening outside of me, then I'm actually not getting back to the soul of who I am. Right? So I'm missing getting to know the God in me because I'm so focused on the turmoil in the world. Not to say we shouldn't serve, but if I'm going to serve at my highest and best good, if my God self is going to step out into the world and actually be the mirror of change that I want to see, then I got to figure out who's in there. Yeah, I got to figure out when my own patterns disrupt, interrupt, and even throw all my good efforts to hell in a handbasket because I'm so intent on fulfilling my own patterning. Yeah? So purpose over pattern. That's really the work, right? When we leave here today, everybody has choices, whether you can go to Shaw's or Hannaford or the Co-op. Those are still choices, right? 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 Everybody has choices to make, right? And it sounds silly to say to yourself, oh, well, which one is a part of the purpose of my life? But if you listen, your ECS and your GPS might go together, and you just might find yourself in line somewhere with someone who just needs to see you smile. That part of like, oh, I know I usually go here because I like these people, but what if I just took a moment and tried to check in about where the leading of me is going? I might end up somewhere new, even in Middlebury, right? You never know, right? You might end up somewhere in a conversation that you never would have had you stuck to your own pattern, right? And so I'm going to invite you today as you think, meditate, reimagine yourselves from the inside out, what it is you might want to move around or shift. And it doesn't have to be permanent, because you always get to reintroduce yourself to the universe as something new, right? It doesn't have to be permanent. Think about, what if I just moved my heart towards another person today? What if I sat back and maybe investigated my hunger? Am I actually hungry? Or the cookies, I just know the cookies are in there, right? What would happen if I said to myself, the gifts and the resources I have are not about reimagining the revolution, but reimagining my own self-evolution? Yeah, it's a really amazing book that I'll leave you with today. If you haven't read it, I highly recommend it. It's called Recapture the Rapture. And the author says something really poignant that I believe in, like it's going to be like the mantra for the rest of my life is, I am not trying to lead a revolution, but I am intentionally trying to seed one. Right? And I'm trying to seed a revolution, not lead a revolution. Yeah. Right? And when we think about the efforts that we make every day, each choice is a seed, each conversation is a seed, each person we interact with is a seed. What is that seed going to be the outgrowth of in this revolution? Yeah? Thanks for listening. Go for it.
Let It Be a Dance, number 311. I just wanted to thank Christal so much, and she will do some closing words, and then we'll extinguish the chalice after that.
Okay. So maybe you guys have also heard this, but I'm just going to leave you with this poem that I really love. I actually hand it out to several students at the college all the time. It's called A Ritual to Read to Each Other. If you don't know the kind of person I am, and I don't know the kind of person you are, a pattern that others made may prevail in the world, and following the wrong God home, we may miss the star. For there is many a small betrayal in the mind, a shrug that lets the fragile sequence break, sending with shouts and horrible errors of childhood storming out to play through the broken dike. And as elephants parade, holding each elephant's tail, but if one wanders, the circus won't find the park. I call it cruel, and maybe the root of all cruelty, to know what occurs, but not to recognize the fact. And so I appeal to a voice, to somewhere shadowy, a remote, important region in all who talk. Though we could fool each other, we should consider, lest the parade of our mutual life get lost in the dark. For it is important that awake people be awake, or breaking line may discourage them back to sleep. The signals we give, yes or no, or maybe, should be clear. The darkness around us is deep.
We don't have a